Okay, we're back to the Notebook of Doom. Yesterday, we had a huge bomb dropped on us. Dr. Tallow is a monster? Could you imagine if all this time I just unzipped my skin and it turned out I was a monster the whole time? I'm not. I'm not a monster, I promise. Guide's honor. Alright, so when we left off, Dr. Tallow tried to trick Alexander by confessing that she could see the monsters. So Alexander was about to hand over the Notebook of Doom to her to explain to her that he was seeing the monsters too and that he was part of a team that fights them. But then Nikki and Rip burst in, and I think, Dottie's there too. They burst in and come to find out that Dr. Tallow is a monster, and she was trying to get the book because remember, the big bad boss of all the monsters wants that book and he wants to destroy it. So here we go, chapter 13. Quite a stretch. No, Rip cried. My favorite teacher is a blob? I'm no ordinary blob, dearie, said the pink ooze. I'm the shape-shifting super goop. I can take any form. Ooh, if you could take any form. So shape-shifting, here's some of the things that she shape-shifted into. If you could change your body and take any form to become anything else by magic, what would you shape-shift into? Let's get some ideas. Vloop. The blob twisted around, making a sound like a boot being pulled from thick mud. An instant later, it had molded itself into a new shape, a balloon goon. Then vloop, a mummy. Vloop, a carrot. Vloop, a snomby. Vloop, back to a blob. I think if I could shape shift, I definitely want to be I would want to be my dog. My dog lying on the couch right now with the sunshine on her face. So I would want to be not just any dog, I'd want to be my dog because my dog's spoiled. But I think I'd also want to shapeshift into a bird because I think it would be cool to fly. And to go south for the winter? Yeah, I totally want to shapeshift into a bird. That's it. Think about it though. Maybe that'll be our question for today. If you could shapeshift into anything, what would it be? So she just shapeshifted into all of the former monsters that they'd seen. Alexander gasped. Those monsters I saw! They were all you! Yes, I turned into those monsters when you were alone, said the blob. I knew none of these dum-dums would believe you. Rude. Salamander really did see those monsters, said Rip. One monster, Rip. A silly putty monster, said Dottie. Hoo-hoo, go Dottie, she's a little sassy. The super goop extended a pink rubbery arm toward Nikki. Nikki clutched the notebook to her chest as the super goop's arm clamped down around her shoulders. Now, give me that notebook, the monster yelled. Never, said Nikki. She tossed the notebook to Alexander. He zipped it into his backpack. Vloop! 2 more arms shot out, wrapping around Alexander and Dottie like vines. Goodness. So she's got all 3 of them. Only Rip left. What's he gonna do? The hamsters, turtles, and fish hid in their tunnels, shells, and plastic castles. Rip took a step back toward the doorway. Vloop! Dr. Tallow's pink, smiling face appeared on the blob. Rip, dearie, there's no need to run, she said. You and I were alike. Alike? Yelled Rip. I'm not a Chomp! Nikki bit the super goop's arm. Ouch! The blob shouted. Alexander felt the monster loosen its grip. Rip, catch! Alexander yelled. He flung his backpack to Rip. Run! Don't let her get the notebook! Rip darted out the door. The tallow-faced blob followed him, locking the door behind her. cat, said Nikki. Alexander, Nikki, and Dottie could hear Rip shouting from the other side of the door, but they couldn't understand what he was saying. Rip needs us, said Nikki. We gotta get out of here. No problem, said Dottie. I saw Dr. Tallow enter the code yesterday. Dottie walked up over to the keypad and pushed a few buttons. Boop, boop, boop. The door swung open. Alexander smiled. Dottie, I'm so glad you're in the SSMP, he said. Alexander, Nikki, and Dottie ran into the classroom. Two boys were having a tug-of-war over Alexander's backpack. They both wore black shirts. They both had square heads. They both were Rip Bonkowski. Well, wait a minute. Here's the picture. How is it Rip fighting Rip? How is that possible? What do you think? Chapter 14. Ooze the new guy. The two Rips growled at each other as they jerked on the backpack. Guys, shouted Rip number 1. That squishy glop super goop changed itself to look like me. Don't believe that, phony, said Rip number 2. I'm the real Rip. The two Rips were punching, kicking, and fighting dirty, like only a Rip could do. How are they going to figure out which one's the real Rip? She shape-shifted. Oh, man. Alexander, Nikki, and Dottie watched from the back of the room. What can we do? Asked Nikki. We blast the fake Rip, said Alexander. He grabbed Rip's stink blaster and strapped it on. Stop, or I'll squirt, he shouted. There he is. He's got the stink frogs hat and squirter thing on. Stop, or I'll squirt, he shouted. Both Rips froze mid-punch. They were each holding one strap of Alexander's backpack. Blast him, not me, they both said at the same time. Alexander looked back at Nikki and Dottie. Ask a question that only the real Rip could answer, suggested Dottie. What does SSMP stand for? Asked Nikki, stepping forward. Super Secret Monster Patrol, said both Rips. Well, that won't work, said Alexander. I, told Dr. Tallow about the SSMP. You what? Said Nikki. Blast that other Rip already, said Rip number 1. He's clearly a weenie. Hello. Yeah, this does not involve you. Yeah, we're reading here. You need to back it up. Sorry, Buttercup. Down you go. Thank you. Sit. Sit. Blast that other Rip already, said Rip number 1. He's clearly a weenie. Don't blast me, Salamander, yelled Rip number 2. You're my very best friend in the whole world. Oh, said Rip. The real Rip. Oh, no. Aha, said Alexander. The real Rip would never say something so sappy. He squeezed the trigger on the stink blaster. Rip number 2 let go of the backpack to block his face as Alexander soaked him with stink sauce. Ew. Thanks, dearie, yelled Rip number 1, yanking the backpack away. Time for me to bounce. Alexander, Nikki, and Dottie gasped. Vloop! Rip number 1 melted into a gooey blob and shot out of the classroom. It was wearing Alexander's backpack. Guess he got it wrong. Rip did tell him he was his best friend in the whole world. Chapter 15, Look Who's Talking. Yeesh, said the real Rip, sopping wet with stink sauce. That was the first and last time I ever say something nice. Sorry, said Alexander as he helped Rip to his feet. Come on, Nikki shouted from the door. The monster's getting away. The 4 of them ran into the hallway. The super goop was near the escalators. You can't catch me, the monster shouted. Vloop! The supergroup morphed into a giant rabbit and hopped down the stairs. "Oh no," said Dottie. "Bunnies are super fast." "Even on escalators," said Rip. Thump, thump, thump. They chased the rabbit down the steps and caught up with it on the next floor down. But just as Alexander reached out to get the backpack, vloop, the supergroup became a salamander. There he is, salamander, trying to be, there he is, as the rabbit. Or I guess she is. And then a salamander. The supergroup became a salamander running on the wall. Yuck, 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 laughed the monster. "I'm using your own animal reports against you." Vloop! It snapped back into a blob form and oozed down to the second floor. "It's heading into the cafeteria," shouted Nikki. "Follow that blob," said Alexander. "We've got to get the notebook back." By the time they got down the stairs, the cafeteria was empty. "Through those doors, maybe?" asked Rip. They walked into the kitchen. It was dark and warm. "It smells yummy in here," says Dottie. Loaves of bread were cooling near two giant ovens. It's like at our school, when somebody's making something yummy down in that kitchen, you can smell it through the whole school. Slam! The kitchen doors burst open, and the rubbery pink blob bounced in. "Did you miss me?" said the monster. Vloop! 4 noodly arms shot out, wrapping around each member of the Monster Patrol. "My boss will be so happy when I tell her I've destroyed the SSMP," said the blob. "I'll be her hack, hack." The blob began to cough. Alexander noticed the rubbery arm around his waist had turned kind of gray and chalky. "It's drying out," he shouted. "The heat from the ovens, it's too much for it." The supergoop began to crack and crumble. It released its grip on the 4 monster fighters. "It needs moisture," said Nikki. "That's why Dr. Tallow was always using hand lotion," said Rip. Floop. The crumbling blob turned into a pink goldfish. It flopped across the room and into a pot of water. Then the supergoop shot out of the water. It was no longer a goldfish. The monster was now a giant rubbery ball, large enough to flatten 4 kids with one bounce. There's the ball. All right, chapter 16. No Book of Doom. Oh my gosh. This chapter's called No Book of Doom. Do you think they're going to lose it for real? The SSMP ran back into the cafeteria. They weaved between lunch tables. The supergroup rolled after them, bouncing off tables like a runaway boulder. "Make a break for the bathroom," Rip shouted. The friends dashed into the bathroom. Sproing! The monster barreled through the bathroom door. Alexander, Nikki, and Dottie were huddled together. Where's Rip? "I guess I'll deal with you 3 first," said the supergroup. "I know just what animal will finish you off." Vloop! The supergroup transformed into a huge, spiky creature. It began to puff itself up, nearly filling the bathroom. What creature is it turning into? Remember, she was turning into creatures. She was using their animal reports against them. Alexander gasped. "The Texas horned lizard!" "Prepare to be poked," shouted the monster. Then, squished. Oh man. Look how big it is. And they're trapped in the bathroom. And you see the backpack's on one of his horns. What are they going to do? Let's see. Oh, did you see something? Did you see a clue in this picture? Let's see. Ker-clack! Rip kicked open the bathroom stall. Hot enough for ya, Goop for brains, he shouted. Bam! He hit the Sahara Desert button on the hand dryer. Remember from the beginning of the book, I learned about the hair dryers the hand dryers in the bathroom. There was dry, super dry, and Sahara Desert dry. A hot, dry whirlwind swirled around the room. Uh-oh, said the Super Goop. Then, crick, the monster became instantly dry and hard. Nice work, Rip, said Alexander. He snatched his backpack from one of the creature's spikes. Is someone playing in there? Shouted an angry voice. I get angry when you play in the bathroom, too. It's not me, though. It's Miss Vanderpants. Miss Vanderpants marched into the bathroom. Her eyes narrowed as she looked around the room. Oh, gosh, look at what she's seeing in the bathroom. So she sees stinky, drippy Rip, a broken door, a giant, weird, spiky statue, and kids in the school after hours. I don't think she's going to like that. You four, out now, she said. The SSMP left their grumbling principal in the bathroom. That was weird, said Dottie. Yeah, said Rip, super weird. Miss Vanderpants didn't yell at us, said Dottie. And she didn't ask about the giant baked super goop, said Alexander. You know, Miss Vanderpants was acting weird when I was in her office today, said Nikki. She kept carrying big white buckets into the hall. What was in the buckets? Asked Dottie. I'm not sure, said Nikki, but anyway, I'd take strange Principal Vanderpants over that jampire hater Dr. Tallow any day. Yeah, said Rip. You were right about her. Alexander reached into his backpack for the note. Guys, he said. He shook his backpack upside down. A note fell out. Everyone froze. The notebook was gone. Alexander's stomach felt queasy, and it wasn't from the stink sauce. What's the note say, said Nikki. Here's the note here. It says, Dear SSMP, you may have gotten your backpack back, but your notebook is with the boss monster now. Good luck fighting monsters without it. Super Goop, a.k.a., also known as Dr. Tallow. Now what, said Rip. Now we get our notebook back, even if it means going up against the boss monster, said Alexander. The SSMP sat quietly on the kitchen floor as Alexander turned over the note. He wrote a report about the Super Goop. Oh, here's his report. It says, Super Goop, not so silly putty. Habitat, Sturmont Elementary, on the 9th floor. Diet, lotion, water. This monster soaks up moisture. Behavior, this blob can shapeshift into any animal or person or monster. Warning, your teacher may be a Super Goop. Does he or she use hand lotion? I do, don't I? I keep it right on top of my filing cabinet, don't I? Maybe I am. Sproing! The Super Goop is extra bouncy in blob form. Alright, and that's it. That's it. They actually lost the notebook. It'll be interesting. So that was number 10. Number 11 is... That is my dog chewing apart a box. She likes to rip apart cardboard boxes. So that's what's happening over here. That's what that noise is. Yeah, you. Sneeze of the Octoschnoz. Ooh, that's it there. Let's see. I can't say it now. Sneeze of the Octoschnoz. So that'll be the next one. Stay tuned for that one next week. I hope you're enjoying the Notebook of Doom as much as I'm enjoying reading it to you. All right, guys. See you next time.